Champions for Children. Reuniting families.
Welcome to CLU, reuniting families for me and you. Welcome to CLU, for the safety of children and the parents too.
Welcome to the CLU Show. Reuniting families. Champions for Children.
Welcome to the CLU Show.
Part of our self-development multimedia platforms.
Your number one podcast for keeping nuclear family performances alive, functional, cross-functional, and thriving.
Designed to prevent or solve your dangerous and difficult divorce, court, or heartache problems, while also highlighting safer and easier solutions for families of the future.
Introducing your host, author of Law and Side Law, and co-founder of CLU, Aron Wimple.
With me today is financial jam survival expert and I guess you'd say childhood suppression survival expert, Aron Starfire. Aron, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the CLU Show.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of poke fun at those labels, but they're real life experiences of things you went through, right?
That's absolutely true. And any part of that is survival. That's anytime you have to fight the system and to try to see a child or any of that nature, it's all survival.
Good point. Yeah, and I think it's great you named that the law of trying to solve this problem for other kids, Alayna's law, because it kind of raises awareness of what you went through.
Yeah, that's that's the only thing that's based on it is the survival of what I went through for her and what she goes through for me and her mother. That's all about her. That's it. I mean, it's all about her.
Well, no one expects what happened to you and your daughter to happen at all. It's just unimaginable. But can you please tell our listeners what the proposed? Do you remember what the proposed parenting plan said at the time?
The child support was extremely high that my attorney talked me into just to get this case over, so we could go back and change it later on. But that. And then fighting the system is just it's extremely hard on any person or the child, and they see all that when you when the stress and the sickness is in your eyes.
Did the parenting plan, did they hit it on a more personal level too? Did they try to take phone time away from Alayna at the times where she couldn't call you but only 1 hour a week or something? Is that what the lawyer was?
Yeah, that's what it was originally. She could only talk to me 1 hour a week.
And that was on paper and writing, right?
That was on paper and writing, and it was based off of which I thought was I was supposed to be some sort of a bad person, and I never done anything ever to be, in a bad situation with my ex or my child.
Yeah, no matter. I mean, there's no justification why they wanted to do that. They just put it out there like that. They weren't accusing anybody of anything. That's just kind of what they wanted. We're asking for in the proposal before the divorce agreement was finalized.
Well, I believe it was they were putting their foot down to say, you're not going to get through this good, and we're going to show you right now. Right. And they did. I mean, they showed me immediately, and that made me more upset throughout the whole process. And that's the only thing they were after. The more I messed up, the more they got, and that was their main goal.
So would you say that, I know you had a lot of those situations, but that one situation alone caused you kind of unbearable anxiety?
Oh yeah, for the whole thing, because I knew right then I'm definitely not going to win this, and they're against me. So the whole process was depression, anxiety. I mean, the whole 9 yards, and I knew it. I knew that I wasn't going to win because of that.
What kind of stress did you think that put on your poor daughter?
Oh, I know when I did talk to her at that time, the 1 hour a week, she cried most of the hour because she wanted to see us, or me. And that just put a big hurt on her and myself. And her mom didn't, at the time, didn't see any problem with it.
So that was kind of just an unnecessary burden she shouldn't have had to go through, you think?
It was spite. It was spite and not thinking of your child. and it shouldn't have happened that way by no means.
And if you hadn't have worked around that deal in like a social justice way, coming up with Alayna's Law, talking to states representatives, trying to find a sponsor for that bill, do you think like it would have had lasting effects on Alayna, or do you think doing that social justice stuff and working for Alayna's Law kind of also helped her through that situation?
I believe it helped her through it because we had meetings and involved her in more of the outcomes of our questions for it. And I believe it helped her just as much as it did me.
So it could have had lasting effects the other way had we not gone that route?
Absolutely, yeah.
Been bad?
Yeah.
In a bad way?
It could have if we wouldn't have had Alayna's Law that and tried to focus on that to help other people. It would have been a terribly bad situation because I don't know where I would have dedicated my time to, for one, instead of on my daughter, where I did because of this. It puts Alayna's Law put a rock in my head and made me think, and jingled around a little bit, and then the outcome of it was just me focusing on her, and that's it.
Awesome. That's great. Every kid in that situation needs a lot extra parental love and support, I think.
Yeah, if you don't give it to them, and if you're just sad all the time you see them, and mad at the world, mad at their parent, the other parent, that she sees it. I mean, the kids see it. They know it. They don't even have to be told it. They can see it in your face, your eyes. So if you don't focus your time on making them happy and you being happy with them, it just doesn't work out.
So Alayna's Law is trying to make it toward they can't restrict a child's phone time with mom or dad on paper. Did that new solution help the anxiety in your daughter, do you think, and who was facing that attempted suppression on her phone time? Do you think that helped?
Absolutely. When she found out that she could spend more time on the phone with me, and then, first off, it was more time on the phone, and that anxiety and everything, you could see it start being lifted because she thought, there was an outcome, a goal, and a finish to this whole thing. And when I started seeing her, regularly, I could see a big lift in her because of, the time that we enjoyed on the phone, and then we were all caught up again pretty much when we seen each other. So yeah, that on her side was huge, just as well as mine.
Awesome. I wish more kids could experience that lift at that time. I know you mentioned once you think it was put in there for spite, but how do you think the author, the lawyer who authored that parenting plan proposal felt about it?
I don't believe she felt anything but to get her money and be done with this case. I think she talked me into several different things that I didn't want, that, said we could go right back to court and change, just to be able to see my daughter right now and be with my daughter. But none of that did. It took 4 or 5 years for any of that to even start happening. So the attorneys, and my attorney, in my opinion, was just out for money and money alone. She had no heart whatsoever.
Yeah, unfortunately, we kind of see the system work like that. It wrenches people too far apart unnecessarily sometimes. So now you have this new license from CLU to practice these, what we call constructive child safety files, which is also known as Family Law 2.0. In essence, when the battles of adults reach the level of high conflict, or even the lawyers, when the two lawyers get battled to such a point, it's believed that this better protects our children. Any thoughts?
I agree. I agree that it definitely protects our children. It protects our minds as well, to do right for our children. So I would say it definitely protects us.
So how does that feel that you're more of a specialist in this new area of Family Law 2.0 and child safety files than even the top lawyer in the country? I mean, if it does pan out and if this turns into something, you're in on the ground level and you're already basically more qualified than them.
Well, I'm excited just because I got a heart. They never will. So I'm already achieved my goal, that to be higher up than they are. So, anybody with a heart can tell you that if you're going to fight for something, you better do it with all feet in and all arms in. The attorneys don't do that, and We do.
Amen, amen. It is a battlefield out there when you get involved in the divorce court and family law. It's a battle. Psychological warfare is pretty much it's what it's known for, and nothing's off the table as far as maneuvering the other person. Do you think that legislative initiative called Alayna's Law helped wake some authors of those proposals like that one you had up?
I believe so. It opened people's eyes to different things, not just to better the child, to better the relationships with the parents as well. I'm sure that it's opened a lot of eyes up.
Do you feel like your daughter is safer with her dad's new license in practice, safer than she would have been?
I do, because I'm more knowledgeable about it now. I think she would have been safe before, but not as safe because of the knowledge that it comes out of it.
Do you think she has a better future?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because of the way that I can bring her up now and co-parenting with her mother, I think she's got a bright future. Absolutely.
And we're both in Illinois. What about Illinois state representatives? Has there been any interest in sponsoring the bill, Alayna's Law, as is the next step if you don't have access to hundreds of thousands of signatures?
No, there's none that I know of that wanted to sponsor it. We have tried to get some eyes open, but as of now, no, I don't believe so.
When you were going through that attempted setback in your relationship with your daughter, like so many people do, how did that make you feel?
I'm sad, of course. Sad and helpless. When you can't have something that you love and adore in your arms and your sight, you think the whole world's coming to an end, and it feels that way.
Do you think a lot of other people are going through that kind of silently?
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of people hold in their feelings and thoughts, a lot better than others, of course. And there's definitely people going through that aren't talking about it, and that's the worst thing in my opinion, that you can do. You need to open up to somebody and talk about it, and they'll help you through it.
So is that like the starting point for someone to get help handling those feelings, is to kind of reach out or find a support group, someone who's already been there?
Yeah, a support group or a support person. Either way, you need somebody that's got your back and then you can vent to. Because if you don't, you're going to vent in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then you're going to get in trouble more. Or not more, I should say, but you're going to lose more time. You're going to lose more fight in court when you're in trouble. So you definitely need somebody that has your back that you can vent to and help you through it.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Is there another takeaway from your experience that could help other people who might be in either a financial jam or a telephone access jam with their child? Is there another takeaway that you could offer them?
Well, my takeaway from the whole thing is I had patience. Even though I cried daily, I had patience. And in the end, her mother, and myself have worked it out to where we get along, and the child support has been put down to where it actually needed to be in 4 or 5 years ago. And my daughter is the benefit of all of this because we're getting along, and she sees it, and she loves going to both places now.
Would it have helped you if you had that advice earlier?
Oh, it'd been night and day. It would have been absolutely night and day, because then you would have, you know that you have something to look forward to in the end. If I didn't have the advice, I would still be looking. I wouldn't have seen the finish line.
So your connection with your daughter has been restored. All the telephone connections, I assume, on social media and all the other mail exchanges are restored, or they were prevented from being disconnected since you made such a big social move in this case. How would you attract and invite people to consider this new practice you have that's like, well, it's like a safety net for kids?
Yeah, it would be, the more people that would do it, the better off all the children would be. I would advise highly of doing anything in the best interest of your child, of course, but to try to perform with the license and to try to make the world better for the children.
Aron, is there anything else you want your daughter to be excited about for her family in the future?
Yeah, I'm hoping that she's excited that she can see that people get along even after terrible times, and everything actually works out in the end, and give her faith and see that everything is okay.
Any next big milestones?
Not. I'm enjoying my time with my daughter right now, but we'll be. I'm sure we'll be in contact, but right now it's my daughter and only her right now.
Great. Well, Aron, thank you for joining us today. Real quick, do you think children like yours are being kind of overtaxed in the middle of these negotiations and deals? And if so, do you think we as a society may be getting to the point where people like you will be making money in the middle of these deals, like practicing this new preventative area of law someday?
It's not. I don't believe it's about making huge money by no means. It's about helping first and foremost, but there's always expense in there to do that. So,
yeah. Well, even if it is just a figure of speech, you're kind of like, instead of taxing the kids in the middle, you know what I mean, with like the negotiations and the 1 hour a week parenting plan just to use for leverage on one side of a case. If you can uplift them, like you said, to me, that's money. When you're uplifting your daughter like that, that's money.
Yeah, that's $1 million. When you can see the height in her spirits and actions, yeah, that's worth $1 million. You can't change that.
Well, Aron, thank you so much for joining us today, for enlightening us.
It was great to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please join us next time for another episode of the CLU Show. Hey, you're invited to join us again. Remember, when you pivot lives from being uncovered in the middle of divisional protocols to being covered like this, you're not only helping vulnerable children, you're helping families of the future make data-driven decisions, a fairer trade, if you will, on the human scales, so that family gaps will someday no longer have to be overly bound apart, overtaxed in the middle, but pivoting towards money in the middle, more inclusion, more accurate decisions at the root level, so that successful, prosperous, clean, performance-oriented data will someday abound. Please join us next time for another episode of the CLU Show. Remember, Jesus and Paul went through some pretty monumental trials too, so we're in good company here. Thanks for listening to this episode.
Bye! Thanks for giving us a voice.
It's what our coverage does, one unrepresented life at a time.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome to CLU, reunited families for me and you. Welcome to CLU, for the safety of children and the parents too.